Hello! Did you know that clean, renewable energy is the cheapest energy source today thanks to technological development? If you're interested in that, keep on watching and listen to the interview I just had with two experts in that field. If you're new to this channel, my name is Jörg Teichgräber and I am program director at a school called Hyper Island in Sweden. And this here is my Hicks YouTube channel. Well, I haven't uploaded any video for more than 4 months or so because I just didn't manage. In the beginning of this year, we got an answer from a government authority that we got granted money to start 2 new programs. And that meant very much work. I had to hire people, get new spaces, and we had to develop 2 new programs. So currently we run 2 programs called Motion Designer and Digital Media Creative. And from August, we're also gonna run Business Developer and UX Designer. So it's amazing, we're super excited, but there was no time to make any new YouTube video. But I made videos, though not for YouTube. I actually made together with students and the guys from 10X Labs, you're also gonna meet during the interview, an awesome Skillshare course. So the class on Skillshare is called The World According to UX. It's a 45 minutes video class in different, I think, parted in 7 videos. And I'm very proud of that production because it's a high production value and you can learn about our take on UX design and what you need to know if you want to be an exponentially minded UX designer. Check it out. So let's start the interview about clean and renewable energy with Sebastian and Fredrik. But before we geek out on electrical vehicles and stuff like that, drone shot. It's super windy here. I'm in front of the new space that we rented from August. It's called the Torpedo Workshop. Looking forward to make some videos and podcasts here in the new staff room. Welcome to this Hicks interview about clean energy. Sounds good?
Sounds good. Sounds great.
Okay. Who are you?
I'm Sebastian.
I am Fredrik.
And we are 10X Labs.
And you have been to Fully Charged, right? The live Fully Charged event.
Yes.
Yes.
We have the t-shirts.
We wear the full regalia. I even got my festival band still. And this is the 2nd year we've been to what is really a festival meets a conference, literally at the very heart of a racing circuit, which is inconvenient when you want to get to the venue, but adds a certain panache to its flavor. And what Fully Charged is a gathering, 10,000 people strong gathering, of basically the future of energy already today. You can see it as it will be, as we think it will be already happening. And when you look at the future of energy, which is what we are all about in our lab, it's our main focus, it's a triangle. It really consists of 3 things. When you have these things together, well, the future becomes quite exciting, cheaper and more sustainable. It starts with renewable energy production. That is solar and wind. And as it happens, those are now the cheapest sources of energy. Then oh yes.
Cheaper than nuclear energy.
Oh, so much cheaper than nuclear energy.
Yes.
That's good.
Quite cheaper, actually.
Yes, and as certain recent blockbuster series online, Chernobyl, would want to indicate, it also comes without some of the marketing problems and very real problems that nuclear has to offer.
I checked out the Fully Charged YouTube channel here. It's the world's #1 clean energy and electrical vehicle channel. And it's not only about electric cars, bikes, boats and planes, but how to regenerate and even own the electricity to power these machines. So why should I, who owns a car that is 10 years old, driven by fossil fuel, of course, be interested in clean energy, because it's still very cheap when I fill my car.
It's not as much that you should be interested in clean energy. It's nice if you are, and we approve of that very much, but it's more about what would be the cheapest way for you to transport yourself from A to B.
Okay.
And we're rapidly closing the point in time where there is no other sensible option than having an electrical car. Not only is it way cheaper to take care of, the maintenance of an electrical car is maybe not a tenth, but a seventh of how much energy or how much money and time you had to put into a combustion engine. For example, if we just move Sebastian a little bit here to one of the sides, there's an electrical motorcycle back here. Mm-hmm. I have a similar one, which is the combustion engine, and which I have to take in for service maybe once every 5 or 10 hours. This one I have to do the same thing every 50th hour. So I can ride 10 times as long on this one before I have to do anything. That is of course true for normal cars. And if you add to that using electricity produced by renewables will be way cheaper than having diesel or petrol, well, then there is no cheaper way. So you will be interested because it will be the cheapest way for you to transport yourself.
But I'm still doubting if we could use fully, like, could replace all the energy we need with sustainable and renewable energy.
Well, short answer, yes. And a slightly longer answer goes beyond what this YouTube video could conveniently convey, but I'm sure Jörg will put links in the descriptions and maybe up there to some of the videos from Fully Charged, where people far more knowledgeable than us explain exactly this. But the long and short of it is that, as I was alluding to earlier, the future of energy is a triangle. It has to do with renewable production that used to be expensive, but that is now by far the cheapest and unsubsidized source of creating energy. But as we all know, solar and wind are intermittent. They are not always present. The sun goes down, the wind does not always blow.
Especially in Sweden.
So you need a way to store that energy. You need storage. Something that we've had for a long time in terms of hydro, water power plants, for example. We need to create batteries, vast batteries that can contain terawatts of energy. And when we have that, we can fully make use of the sun and the wind. And then if we shift our transportation from oil and to electric, we are now eliminated some of the biggest sources of carbon use, carbon emissions. And all of a sudden, we are transitioning to a post-carbon society, but we don't have to do that, dear viewer, necessarily based on ideas of sustainability, which are of course hotly contested, politicized topics today. You can do it simply based on the ideas of what is cheaper, what is more affordable to own and to run. Maybe you are into the idea of being your own energy supplier. And another interesting nugget of fact is that the fastest growing job sector in the United States today is in fact solar panel installer. Putting solar panels on people's roofs is where the new jobs are at. That's the kind of narrative why we go to Fully Charged, is to get new data so we can construct a data-driven, non-politicized dialogue about why to do the switch.
Okay, what has that to do with digital transformation and remember I made a video about digital exponential technology. It's called Petroverse, I think, the video, so you can check it out in my channel. And when a technology is into digital, right, the change is exponential. And what does that has to do with the energy market? What do we see now? Where are we on that curve?
Well, we are very much at the very jump of the hockey stick when it comes to renewable energy production, with battery technologies being perhaps 5 or 6 years prior to solar or wind energy. So batteries are still expensive, but they are becoming cheaper at an exponential rate, but lagging behind solar, for example. So we are now seeing how solar energy and wind is a close second, has truly begun to peak, and I'm sure we'll insert a graph here because Fredrik made one recently, of solar basically having this type of exponential growth pattern, which means that more and more gigawatts are being installed yearly than is reasonable to expect, because it just makes sense. So we are in very much at the second aspect of the leap towards renewable energy production, and we should.
After the disruption.
The disruption is now
It's
a
happening,
fact,
exactly.
and it's ongoing.
Yes.
And I should point out that last time the oil price crashed and initiated a global financial crisis, it was because of oil prices come like this all the time. But it was a very small fluctuation. Won't go into the details, but very little was applied. Very little change happened to the already thin margins of the oil industry, the big oil, and the world felt its pain. That and worse is about to happen very shortly as electrical cars and renewable energy production is coming online. A small piece of information is that, as many viewers will be aware, Elon Musk and Tesla has a big battery factory out in the Nevada desert in the US. It's called the Gigafactory. There are currently about 15 or so battery factories of a similar size in the world, most of them in China, the vast majority of them, churning out batteries for all the electrical cars. Within 18 months, the number of such factories will have gone from 15 to over 80, dear viewers. That means the world capacity, the world production capacity of batteries, I'm not a mathematician, but it's going to improve by a lot. It's going to improve by 22 million electrical cars every year.
The funniest experience you had at fully charged?
Well, the funniest, I wouldn't know if we should talk about on camera, but the most interesting part, I'd say, was that last year when we visited, which was the first event of Fully Charged Live, there was a lot of talk about something called vehicle to grid, about using electrical cars as a way of storing energy when we have an abundance of it in the system, and then bringing it back when we need it. In doing so, we make the curves more smooth. That is an idea, a thought that was talked about last year, and this year it was there. It was made. Nissan has it. You can buy their Leaf, and you can have a battery, you can have solar, and they have the whole service available for you. You can become part of a vehicle to grid service.
Okay.
Not everywhere, and there's a waiting line, and they're working on it, but it's actually there. And that is a huge shift.
What does it mean practically?
Means that you not only buy a car, which is electrical, but you also buy means of helping out with balancing the net. Taking the grid, taking energy when there's an abundance of it, and doing so getting paid for storing it somewhere. And then when there's a need for energy, you can bring it back. So your car can make you money while waiting somewhere. You plug it in and tell it, well, in 5 hours, I need 80% battery. Please make sure that is true. Up until then, work with the grid to make sure that it works better. And doing that, we can suddenly see that, well, maybe we don't need to build all these huge battery parks. Maybe we can just use the cars. And as Sebastian said, 22 million cars coming online. That is a lot of batteries.
It will make it cheaper for you to consider buying your car. Maybe it would even be subsidized by the energy providers, because they will want vast amounts of distributed and decentralized energy storage available for people's parked cars. So either they subsidize the buying cost for you, or you get paid, whilst you plug it in, because you help balance the grid. Because of course, when you use a lot of renewable energy, solar and wind, you will sometimes have too much of it. That is a problem today, because you overproduce. But you would love to have stored that energy for the evening, when people come home and watch Netflix and put on the washing machines. And your car could be doing that service for you in your home today, but it could do so on a vast scale for the whole of society tomorrow. And that was a concept that people talked about a year ago. Now it is a product available for Nissan.
So there will be no need to save energy at home.
Potentially we
no.
don't know yet.
No.
This is very early days. We are pre-iPhone in terms of this energy triangle thing. Will residential battery storage be the solution for some? Will others use their car? Interestingly, Tesla, who was the forerunner for everything of this, they have always dismissed vehicle to grid as a viable model. Maybe because they sell residential home batteries. Maybe there's more technical reason. We don't know, but what we do know is that all these cars will be available to the grid, most probably, and the grid will want to subsidize you for letting them do so, driving the prices down even more.
Cool. So, thanks for coming.
Somewhat nerdy when it comes to batteries, dear viewer. We are nerdy, so you don't have to. But I would just like to finish by saying that what we do at 10x Labs, what we're fortunate enough to do together with Hyper Island sometimes, and what we will do together with the new students, maybe some of you are watching, that come here in August. We'll meet you in early September, I believe. We'll be making these ideas and others like it far more attainable by using our method, which is called How to Map the Future, to create recognizable, interactive, unapologetically analog devices that show you what all of these things are, the energy, and we could take AI and lots of these new technologies and see how they interact and what happens when they intersect, because that's when disruption happens. And I don't know what's going to happen. I can only make the map so that you can make your own opinion, formulate your own opinion, and then make a decision. That is what we'll be doing, dear viewer, this very autumn. And I'm sure he will catch it all on camera.
Yeah, and I want to take the chance to announce that I'm gonna do a breakfast series with speakers and lecturers, and of course you guys too, during autumn, starting in the beginning of September. So short interviews, 5 to 10 minutes interviews here on YouTube and on a podcast.
Sounds nice. Is breakfast included?
Yeah, coffee and cinnamon bun is included.
That's all I need.
Cool.
Awesome.
So let's go out and test some electrical
Ride some stuff.
geek stuff.
Shoot some B-roll.
All right.
Yeah. Good. Boom. Shall we clap together?
Okay. Yeah. Do a countdown. Right.
This is impossible.
En gång till. So, hope you enjoyed this video and got some insights about clean and renewable energy. And please subscribe if you like this video. I promise to try to upload more consistently. Yes, in the future. Okay, bye-bye.